DJ Erica.
Welcome to another episode of the DJ Erica podcast. If you guys are on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button, y'all. It's like right there. Boom, boom, boom. And in general, if it's your first time listening, welcome to my show. And for everybody that's a returning listener, I'm sorry it's been a couple of weeks, you guys, but I had a lot going on, getting things reorganized, and just the month in general of April has been bananas for me. It also has really been bananas for the entertainment world, and we're going to talk about a lot of things that happened. We lost a lot of people, you know, and we had so many other things that has happened this month that I have to talk about. All right, but before I do, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. And we're going to talk about Young Easy, Natalie Odell, and all the drama going on between them and everybody dragging me for putting out the info because I'm a blogger. I got to tell you guys again, I'm a blogger and I talk, and that's just what I do. You know, this is for the YouTube community that's out there coming at me. And then we have so much different things going on with losing DMX, losing Shock G, and losing Black Rob, all in the same month of April. April has been rough, okay? When it comes to hip-hop community and hip-hop legends, we've lost a lot. And I want to give my perspective in regards to DMX Memorial and everything else. And, you know, also we're going to talk about some things regarding police brutality, this George Floyd verdict, this murder of George Floyd verdict, and Derek Chauvin being convicted. You know, there's so much that has been going on, you know, even down to the scamming that's allegedly been going on within the Black Lives Matter organization. It's just so much, y'all. It's so much. And as you get into this podcast, you're going to understand why I do what I do. And it's because I have to get these stories out to y'all, and I want to hear y'all opinion. All right? So let's get into it. Let's not waste any more time. All right, so feeling really blessed right now. Highly favored to just be here alive talking on the microphone to you guys, because the month of April has been just bananas when it comes to death and disaster. You know what I mean? When it comes to media and everything else, there's been so much death and disaster, and it's just so sad. Now, the first tragedy happened, of course, everyone knows that we lost the legendary, iconic DMX on April 9th after he was in a coma since April 2nd after having a heart attack and being rushed to the hospital, and they said that he was brain dead. It was just complete madness. People are giving out false reports saying that he had passed when he still was in a coma, and they just laid him to rest last weekend, and it was an overall full weekend memorial, and they had a memorial on Saturday, and then they had his actual funeral on Sunday at a church, and it was live streamed. And you know they did present DMX 15 Children. His fiance was of course there, along with his ex-wife Tashera. And I just want to say that his ex-wife Tashera is such a class act, because she was so real and so candid about her love and just her life with DMX, and she also was very caring and nice to his current fiance, the one that he was engaged with when he passed away. And you know, she took a moment and just gave her a shout out and basically said that she was a real woman, and she would not, you know, she would acknowledge this woman, and she gladly did. You know what I mean? So it was just nice to see that, for the sake of all his kids that he have and everything else, seeing that the women who have those children getting along, you know, it's just. It was like a good moment. But in general, that funeral was very nice. Now, I'm going to rewind back to the memorial that happened on Saturday. And I had seen it. They had it at the Barclays Center. They actually started it off with the Rough Riders motorcycle crew following a truck that carried the casket of DMX, and they hightailed it all the way through New York until they got to Barclays Center. Once they brought his coffin into Barclays Center, that's when the memorial began. Now, Kanye West was heavily involved, as he was basically the entertainment for the memorial. And although I enjoyed the sounds that was being made by his choir, it was just, and I'm saying this with all respect, it was just a bit creepy. You know, just, I don't know the idea of what they were trying to go with it. It didn't give me like funeral vibes. It was very just creepy. That's what I can say. You know what I mean? It was all wearing red, and it was dark and red lights, and then you got hoodies on and people face not showing. It kind of looked like a weird seance, and I'm just sitting here like, what the hell is this? After I seen that, I had to like pray and like throw some holy water on me or something. Like, I don't know what direction Kanye was going with that, but yeah. And there's no disrespect to his family if they decided to do that. That's, when you lose somebody, you have the total right however you want to send them off. But I feel like his funeral on Sunday was more appropriate, and more, more in line with what DMX stood for, which was for Jesus, and he was a believer in God and Christ and everything else. The memorial was a little odd, but the one thing I can say, one of the biggest highlights for me was Swizz Beatz calling out all of the fake supporters that showed up to his memorial that day at Barclays Center, and basically was saying like, it's nice that you guys showed up now, but where were you when he was alive? You know what I mean? Like, where was all these people when he was living and he was still struggling with his addiction? Where was this assistance, when he needed it? You know what I mean? And we know the DMX, he was a person who prayed for everybody. It's just, you could go on YouTube and just see a slew of videos of DMX doing collective prayers for his fans, doing collective prayers with people that he's been on shows with. Just really a person who, even though he had his own struggles, he really tried to really highlight the importance of God and God and Christ throughout his life. Even though he was a hip-hop artist, even some of his music was like real vulgar, but classics nonetheless. He was a true believer in God, and I believe that he completed what he needed to complete it while he was here. And it is good to finally have closure and for them to bury it, because it was such a long month in regards to him, his health, his death, everything. And I'm definitely sending prayers out to the family for their closure and everything else. Also with this controversy, I want to talk about Swizz Beatz and 50 Cent and Irv Gotti. Irv Gotti went on a radio show, okay, and basically did something that I feel like it was a bit distasteful, because it was the weekend that they were holding his funeral, and he decided to go on this radio station and put out that DMX had allegedly had overdosed on crack mixed with fentanyl. And it basically went viral and went through all the social media streets. And of course Swizz Beatz and got whipped of it. And I noticed that during the memorial, although I believe Irv Gotti was there at the funeral, they did not allow him to speak. So I think he was taken on the program, because that was distasteful. Like, his kids, he has like 15 kids, and they're like kids, and they're very much aware of the things going around. So I just feel like it wasn't appropriate at that time for him to come out and just, say that on a radio station, especially while they're in the midst of burying him, whatever. The dust had even settled, and he was, going at that. And it's bad, because it's more so he had a personal relationship with DMX, and he know the family, he know the people that's really going through it, so he knows the effect that this entire death has had on his family. So I feel like it was inappropriate. And I don't know, I just didn't agree with that. And Swizz Beatz wasn't feeling it neither. He actually put a tweet out about it on Twitter that I just recently seen earlier today. Let me just read that to y'all. So, Swiss Beats wasn't feeling it. Swiss Beats is a real one. I could tell you that now. And you know, it was just showing that basically recently, Swiss Beats took to Twitter and called him a bozo. It was like, bozo moves can't lie. And then 50 Cent also came in and said, this guy is an idiot. Did he just say DMX died of smoking crack and fentanyl? Why would he say that? You know what I'm saying? So he was like retweeting about or talking about the clip that was shown and had went viral. You know what I mean? And big ups to Swiss Beats for having DMX back to the end and being a real one from what I've seen and heard. You know, he's always taking care of DMX, even when he had to go to rehab, a lot of different things. And, you know, it's so crazy how, like, when somebody died, like, you know who your real friends are and stuff. Because if Irv Gotti considered DMX a brother, you just would think that he would try to protect it. You know, he's not a media personality. He doesn't make money off of gossip. So I don't know why he would say that. But maybe he felt okay speaking his truth because he had now passed on. But the dust hadn't even settled yet. They hadn't even had a chance to bury DMX. And I think it was like literally the day before his funeral weekend, and he came out saying that. It's just like, okay, like, give it a couple of months. I don't know, get some time for the dust to settle before you really just go out here spewing that stuff out. And the video clips had actually got deleted off of social media, so it's not really out there. I happen to have a clip on Instagram, and I had put it out, whatever, because I had seen I reposted it, and you know, it was people commenting on it. But y'all tell me, do y'all feel like what Irv Gotti said was inappropriate? You know what I mean? Also, Faith Evans performed at the memorial. It's at the funeral, but it was like a virtual performance for the funeral. And honestly, I don't know what's going on with Faith Evans, but just something was off. Like, something was off, and she didn't know her lyrics. She seemed like a bit disheveled when she was performing. And also, I don't know who was handling the camera or what, but it just was just shaky. It was like the person had, like, you know, had something going on. Their nerves was bad or something, because the camera was like shaking the entire time when she was trying to perform. And the lyrics was just all over the place. More so I was watching it live but delayed, which means I was like running like 15 minutes behind with the actual live broadcasting, but the broadcaster was still syndicating. And I tried to watch it. I tried to watch the entire performance, but I would say after 2 minutes or so, because she had a long segment, I had to skip ahead because I just didn't understand what was going on and like why she was sounding like that. Because Faith Evans, she has a voice on her. Like, that's something that's facts. You know what I mean? She's like the first lady of Bad Boy. Like, I don't understand why she would go on, and it was pre-recorded, and just give that performance to DMX family. And it's like, you know, I'm not going to come too bad or down on her, because, you know, she is trying to pay respect, and she might felt the loss too. Maybe that's why the performance wasn't where it should have been, up to par. Maybe, I don't know, maybe DMX was a close friend of hers. I don't know. You know, she did have a story about her and DMX praying together and everything else. But it was just a weird performance. It was a weird performance for me at that event. But nonetheless, it was a couple of things that DMX was awarded. He also got rewarded from the New York State Senate. He has his own holiday, which will be on his birthday. And I believe he says December 18th. So it will be DMX Day starting this year and beyond. And celebrating and remembering his work and the things that he's done for the community. Now, outside of that, I want to know what you guys think about the entire memorial, the funeral. What was some highlights for you guys in regards to that? And what was your favorite DMX songs that you listened to? You know what I'm saying? And did you agree with Swiss Beats when he had called everybody out at the memorial, basically calling people out for being fake and phony? And do you guys really believe that it's like people don't show appreciation of another individual until they die? Why is it that when it comes to people in the culture, it's never a celebration of their work while they're here? Now, me personally, I believe that DMX was very respected. I don't think that people was like, he was one of those people where people just like, oh man, this and this, where we was dragging him. Kind of like, it's not like he was getting the Michael Jackson treatment. And you guys know what the Michael Jackson treatment was and is. Like, I would say the last, I don't know, 20 years of Michael Jackson life, everybody was harassing him, making fun of him, making fun of his looks, didn't appreciate him, stuff like that. And then, like, all of a sudden when he died, then everybody's like, oh my God, I love Michael. Everybody's outpouring, crying. People just like almost crashing when they find out he died and stuff like that. And it's just this crazy domino effect and this switch off when somebody dies. And it's just so annoying. It's like, why couldn't y'all show people like a Michael Jackson their appreciation while they were here? You know what I mean? So do y'all feel like DMX had a similar fate in that people weren't showing him his gratitude and appreciation while he was here? But y'all comment on that. And then we're going to transition over to the shocking death of Black Rob and also Shock G of Digital Underground. Now, this month has been real rough for hip hop, y'all. Like I said, DMX was just like the top of it, and it just like every week we lost a legend, a hip hop legend in the month of April. So we lost DMX, and then Black Rob came on camera looking very ill, very sickly, giving condolences to DMX and his family because DMX had passed on the 9th. And unfortunately, a week later, after Black Rob put that video out, he was out of the hospital. Next thing you know, boom, last week, he just passes away. So like less than a week, 2 weeks after DMX dies, Black Rob dies as well. And it was allegedly because he had kidney failure and a lot of other health elements. And everybody was blaming Puff Daddy and Diddy for not helping him in his time of need. But I don't want to go too deep into that particular subject because I don't know exactly what's up. But from the web and everything else, a lot of people was saying that Black Rob had a lot of health issues for a while, and he was homeless, and he was going through a lot before he passed. And unfortunately, he passed away as well. They actually just held his funeral today in New York. This guy just jumps on the stage and basically just go on his rant. It was like Diddy was helping him. Don't y'all believe the hype? Like Diddy was giving him money and basically claiming that Black Rob allegedly was blowing through money that Puff Daddy was giving him, and Diddy was there the entire time. I don't know, who this person was, but the video is going viral. You know what I'm saying? It's making its rounds on social media, and I would play it, but I want to be safe with the copyright. And I'm also making an additional channel for videos like that, so more than likely I'll probably have the video uploaded to that channel, and you guys can check the link in the description for certain videos that I mentioned as well on the podcast. But yeah, he basically was trying to say that Puffy was helping Black Rob out in his last days and everything else, and Black Rob was irresponsible. Now, okay, it's cool that you are letting it be known that Puffy helped, and if Puffy did help, from what I'm hearing, it's true that he has helped him. That's nice, but I feel like it was inappropriate to go to somebody's funeral like this today while they're still burying this man, because the funeral is going on right now as we speak, like literally. For him to jump on stage and say like, yo, Diddy helped him out, is like, this is his funeral. Like, this is not the Puff Daddy's music video where he can just jump behind his artist and give a shout out and remind them that he's Puff Daddy. Like, that's not an appropriate time to have a discussion in regards to the deceased dying. And it's like, if you wanted to defend his name, sir, I believe you should have went on a podcast or something, you know what I'm saying, and defended Puffy's name. I don't think that it was appropriate while Black Rob was laying in his casket, deceased, and his family is crying over him. I don't know if this was a family member or not, whether it was a family member or not. I just don't feel like it was the right time to just go on stage and start screaming stuff like that. It was inappropriate. It was rude. It was just, it was like, yo, like what's up with that? But yeah, so with the Black Rob situation, man, and with the DMX situation, people saying that it's regarding substance abuse and stuff like that, causing their health to deteriorate and stuff like that. It's important for people to try to take care of themselves, try to avoid being on heavy substances. Sometimes people like a glass of wine. There's nothing wrong with that. Nobody is not telling you, oh, don't indulge at all. But sometimes you have to make sure that you're monitoring yourself and, doing the things that you do to try to stay here and stay alive. In regards to the DMX situation, it's a totally different scenario because he basically was tricked into doing drugs allegedly, and that's what he said in an interview podcast that he did last year, and his mentor tricked him into doing drugs, and it was the saddest thing in the world. But for people who actively decided to indulge in substance and stuff like that, you know what I mean, it's important that you try to do that in moderation, or just don't do it at all, because you don't want to have to deal with the ramifications from doing those drugs. You know, your body can only take so much, you know what I mean, before it starts to turn on you and things just start to go downhill. And you know, it's only so much that you could do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know, like, when you're in your 20s and stuff like that, and you feel like, yo, your body could just take anything. I'm 29 years old, and you know, I haven't been a person who's been into substances. I don't smoke or anything like that. Most I drink is possibly wine here and there, but it's all in moderation. It's not in heavy consumption, and it's too much of anything is not a good thing. You know what I mean? So for those out there who are suffering with drug addiction and stuff like that, I hope that, you know, you do seek help. We understand that addiction is a disease, you know what I mean? So I hope that the people around you, you know, just try to get a good support team together. You know, if you can't get physical support, try to get spiritual support, and try to get your health and stuff in order, because your health really is your wealth. It doesn't matter how much money you have, you know what I mean, or how rich you may be, or how much you earned and gained and stuff like that. If you aren't taking care of yourself, if you're not making sure that you are doing the things that you need to do to stay functioning healthy, and also, you know, you're not doing drugs and stuff like that to help make your organs fail faster and stuff like that. Like, granted, we're all mortals and we all have our destined day to leave, but you know, you don't want to speed it along with doing a lot of drugs and substances. You know what I mean? The older you get, the less your body can take from it. And that's the unfortunate part of, you know, seeing people who had different addictions and stuff like that. And not saying that he was on drugs before he passed or anything like that, but allegedly, from the videos I did research on YouTube, they were saying that Black Rob had an alleged drinking problem and stuff like that, which caused him to have these kidney failures and all these different things. So it's just in general, just for black people too, it's particularly black men, you know, it's try to ease up on that, you know what I mean, because it's no good. It's no good, and it doesn't lead into anything good in the future, you know what I mean. You do want to be here to see your grandkids and stuff, and even, you know, women out there, and just everybody. This is a worldwide problem. Black, white, you know, green, yellow, you know what I'm saying? We all have downfalls, and there's a lot of people, no matter what the race is, we deal with addictions. We have addictions, whether it's a drug addiction, whether it's whatever, you know what I mean? But hopefully, you know, while you're going through that, you're able to recognize the problem and get through it, fight it, and conquer it. You know what I'm saying? And then the last passing, because I'm tired of talking about passing, we're going to get into some other stuff, but it's just been such a dark month of April, y'all. Usually, I'm just like on some cheery shit. Usually, I'm just on some like, yo, did y'all hear? Like, just trying to be more jokey, but it's just been so much tragedy going on the month of April of 2021. I feel like it's going to go down in history. You know, when it comes to one of the worst news months I've ever seen in my life. But anyways, we, later on last week on the 22nd of April, we lose Shock G. So the story with Shock G passing, and of course I put that on my YouTube and website, djjericapod.com. And by the way, make sure you guys go to the website, djjericapod.com, for the full story and spill on the topics that I'm speaking about. But yeah, Shock G had allegedly had passed in Tampa at his hotel. They said that they had found him deceased in his hotel, and that there was no foul play involved. So it looks as if he may have just passed on in his sleep. But, you know, and for most of you guys who do not know who Shock G is, he was known in the hip-hop community as Humpty Dumpty, even though his name was Shock G, because of the song The Humpty Dance. So it was like, do me baby, I do the Humpty Hump, do the Humpty Hump. So for all the youngins out there who don't know who that is or whatever, look at that song. You probably might have heard your mom and dad or at a barbecue somebody playing that song, because it was, you know, it ended up being one of those dance line songs, you know what I'm saying? And everybody would get out getting those on, you know, getting danced and everything else. But his significance of hip hop is that Shock G actually discovered Tupac Shakur and mentored him and brought him up in the hip hop game before he became Death Row Tupac. You know what I'm saying? And he was the person who collaborated with Tupac. One of their hit songs that I do remember is I Get Around. And of course, he has a verse in there as well. So, you know, he was a very creative individual, played a lot of instruments, you know, very talented. And I mean, you got to be hella talented to be the mentor of Tupac Shakur, the hip hop mentor of Tupac, you know, one of the greatest poets of our time. So, you know, he was 57 years old. May he rest in peace. But I noticed that all three of these legends in here was only in their 50s, you guys. 50 years old, 51, 57-ish. You know, it's just important that, you know, in general, like, in you know, regards to black man health, it's just, you know, trying to take care of yourself, you know what I mean? It's just interesting, y'all. It's interesting, you know what I mean? Money can't buy life, man. And it's important to, you know, show appreciation to the people that you can, why they're here. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much what it is. Now, in other news, let's get into this whole situation regarding DJ Envy and Ma'Khia Bryant. Now, Ma'Khia Bryant, for you guys who do not know, was a 16-year-old girl who was shot by the police, okay, in Ohio, after she was chasing two women with a knife in defense of herself. Now, let me just break this story down to you guys, because the video of it has gone viral and people have given their perspective, okay? So, they said that this 16-year-old, who's a minor, was being attacked. These two women, these grown women, showed up to this 16-year-old's house, okay, who's in foster care, which is Ma'Khia Bryant, trying to fight her. Now, no one is knowing why they're trying to fight her, but Ma'Khia took it upon herself, and one of these ladies, they're saying it was Ma'Khia Bryant that called the police. I don't know if it was her or not, but that's what they're saying, allegedly, that she called the cops to get help. But when the cops showed up, instead of her just letting the cops handle it, you know, they happened to walk in the mid of the altercation. So you see Ma'Khia fighting one girl and kicking her down, and then Ma'Khia turns and walks towards her car in an altercation with another girl that's dressed in pink. Now, if you look at the video footage, Ma'Khia has like a knife, like a steak knife, preparing to stab this woman in the neck. Now, mind you, on the side of the video, you see this grown-ass man kicking a female in the leg, which is, I don't know who that man was. I don't know if it was her father, whatever. If y'all know, help me out, okay? He's kicking this girl, you know, the first girl on the floor, and Ma'Khia is going forward to the other girl that's in the pink, and she reached out and she tries to cut her or whatever. Now, by this point, the cops is already there, and this is all recorded on the cops camera. So he moves forward and he says, you know, he says drop the knife to her. Now, with the adrenaline that this teenager she had, you know, she probably was scared because these people was on her property. She was kind of like standing her ground and trying to fight this woman off of them, but the police didn't view it that way. And the police shot 4 rounds into this girl, and she dropped to the floor and died. Dropped to the ground and died, okay? The other girl in the pink got away, okay? And this is and I ain't even gonna say other girl, because she was a grown woman according to sources. These women were like 28, 29 years old, showing up to a 16-year-old's house to fight. Now, that in itself, black people, is just, and I'm talking about black people because it was black people that the story is about black folks, and I'm gonna talk to my people for a second. That in itself is just shameful. I'm not exactly sure when we got to the point where we got grown women at almost 30 years old showing up to the house of a teenager to fight her, and more than likely they probably was fighting with her over a man, okay? You know, it's just shameful, and I feel like the whole situation was very preventable. And part of me, people's trying to say like, who's to blame, why Ma'Khia is dead? I would have to blame her father. I would have to blame the men. I would have to blame any male that was around before the cops showed up who did not do anything to restrain their daughter or get these women away and stop the altercation. It's so many different ways of them being able to restrain these females. Men are so much stronger than females, and even if he didn't want to fight the other two females, he didn't know what they were packing, he could have prevented his daughter from moving forward with doing what she was doing with that knife and held her down because she was a teenager. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand why, and this the thing that pissed me off on camera was we're seeing the black male that was there just kicking the other girl on the ground instead of him diffusing the situation. You know what I'm saying? He further helping to fuel it. You know what I mean? And you know, he's kicking the girl and kicking the other girl, and Makila is going to the next girl. Why are you letting this teenager fight? And I know that she's in foster care. I don't know if this is her actual biological father who was standing there, or if it's a foster father, whoever it was. Him as a man, as a black man, should be ashamed of himself to not be able to control his child, to be able to control physically control his child and stop her from fighting. And granted, also another thing we want to divulge in, there's a lot of people who say that this woman should have been shot because she was about to cut the neck of another female. And granted, that's a good point. However, we also want to just think about it like this. Is it possible that she could have had rights on stand your ground, because they showed it to her house trying to attack her, harm her, kill her, whatever they were trying to do? They were trying to hurt this girl. She's a minor at that, and she was trying to defend herself. So do I feel like the shooting was justified? If it was justified, you know, I can't say that I feel like it was justified, because this happened on her property. The cop didn't know what was going on. He didn't know it was her property, but it was clearly outside of her house. I just feel like the cops just are trained to kill. We know they kill a lot of black people often. It seemed like it in the media. It just seemed like it's just like a target on black folks' back. But at the same time, this whole thing could have been prevented had her father intervened, has her father manned up and intervened and stopped this entire thing. And that's something that I feel like people are, you know, viewing her thing as just, oh, it's just a black female. But you know, this situation is making it so black men are holding an L, because it's making it show that there is no type of discipline when it comes to black men and being able to reign and show leadership in their community. You know what I'm saying? And being more respectable to stop an event like this from happening, so the cops don't have to intervene. There was a man right there, a grown man. You telling me that he couldn't stop this 15-year-old, this 16-year-old from wilding out? Clearly he knew her, because he was kicking the girl that was in there fighting. So why did he as a man not step up to the plate and stop this entire thing before the cops showed up? Because they've been fighting, you know what I mean? So that's the thing that I don't like. And I hate that we're in a society that people are so quick to pull out a camera versus stopping the fight or diffusing the fight. You know what I mean? And we know that sometimes when you call the cops, it ends up with shootings and deaths and disaster. So it's like, we as a community, we have a lot of work to do, and it's time for black men in the community to step up and really start policing their own communities, and you know, stop encouraging this violent behavior, and black women as well. Stop encouraging violent behavior and recording it and trying to post it to social media. And you know what I mean? It's just, it's a disaster. You know what I'm saying? It's at this point where we're coming into society numb, you know, because we can just sit here and just see people just getting shot and killed, you know, and then you know, we have another shooting that happened in the Carolinas with this guy Andre Brown, you know, and they basically allegedly shot him execution style in the back of the head. And it's just been a mess, y'all. It's been so many police shootings after the verdict of Derek Chauvin being found not guilty that I don't know what will be the next step. You know what I mean? And there's so many different anti-discrimination laws that's been passed for people around the world in the United States when it pertains to, you know, LGBTQ issues, stuff like that, and laws made that, you know, hate crimes and stuff like that is illegal. I just wish that the government could really make it so black folks don't have to deal with any more hate crimes on us by the police. And a lot of the times people say that we just take stuff and take the narrative and run with it and try to use skin color as the enamel, but I mean as ammo, but honestly, when you see a situation like a George Floyd situation, as he's been kneed to death and this guy is convicted for his murder, you know, and people viewing this as a victory. I don't view this as a victory. You know, it's kind of like, why are we cheering for something that should have been done long ago? This one conviction, we have so many other deaths at the hands of killers, racists, you know what I mean? From the lynchings of black people in America, the killings of black people in America, with zero conviction rate, you know? So everyone is cheering and celebrating, but yet in the same instance, while we're cheering and celebrating, another black civilian has been shot down. And even so, more so just in talking about civilians in general, no matter the skin color, because we also had another police incident where a police killed another person in a similar fashion of George Floyd, and he was not black. Okay, so it's just the relations when it comes to cops and civilians. Yo, it got to be literally some laws passed with this, because it's just, you know, it's becoming ridiculous. Like, I'm tired of, you know, and I blog, you guys. I sit here and I talk about stories, and I put out the commentary, of course, besides the videos. But me as a commentator, April has been so exhausting with so much death and shootings and this and this. It's just become draining to the point where you're just like, I don't feel like writing about that today. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of putting out articles about, you know, black people being killed. I'm tired of putting out news about black people being murdered by the cops, you know, or suspicious murders or disappear. You know, I'm just as a black woman, black human being, you know, it's just exhausting. You know what I mean? And I think that there has to be more regulations before giving people the right to become cops in America. Like, I feel like it just seems so easy to become a cop, and they're just picking people who's unstable. I mean, and then how could I forget about Dante Wright? Like, come on, you guys. There's been so many murders going on by these cops. Mind you, on the heels of this Derek Chauvin child, this cop shoots a 20-year-old in the back with a gun and says that she thinks it's a taser. Like, how do you mix up a taser from a gun? And you've been on the police force for 26 years. This lady's been a police officer since the mid-90s. And you're telling me, you as a 26-year veteran police veteran, that you don't know the difference between a taser and a gun? Like, it's just, you guys, I can't. I just can't. I can't. I won't. I am just like, at this point, like, what's next? You know? And then talking about that, and it's like, we have people protesting, we have Black Lives Matter and stuff like that that's coming out, and they're supposed to be helping people. And then here we go with these more allegations, okay? You know, basically saying that one of the people from Black Lives Matter is taking the money and buying houses and, you know, cars and stuff for herself, allegedly. And then I'm hearing all of these bad stories about Black Lives Matter. Instead of taking the money and making sure you're giving it to the victims, you know, the victims' families that have been getting shot and killed by the police and everything else. People is over here buying 3, 4, 5 houses, going on vacations and stuff like that. And granted, I know a couple of those people, they may be just well-established black folks who've earned a living, a legal living. But if you are getting most of that money from a charitable organization, I believe that is illegal. So it's just wrong, y'all. Like, how are we supposed to help our people as a people, and we being greedy, taking money, and instead of using it for the right people and giving it to the people who's dealing with grief because of their loved ones being murdered by cops and everything else, you guys are choosing to be selfish and buy houses. And, yo, like, I honestly, April been a long month, okay? I could say it over and over again. April been a long month. And, y'all, usually I just go down a list of, oh, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? And we're going to get into that part. But, you know, this particular part of the show, it's just so much that has happened where I just had to just talk specifically about this issue. And, you know, also discuss, and this is going to be my segue into, like, some more celebrity news and stuff like that. And talk about DJ Envy basically saying that Ma'Khia Bryant deserved to have been shot by the police, and basically justifying the shooting, saying the shooting was justifiable. And, you know, it just completely threw me off. And it's because, you know, Dr. Umar Johnson went on the Breakfast Club, right? And DJ Envy came out, okay, and basically said that he felt the shooting of Ma'Khia Bryant was justified because of her actions, and that she was going after the girl with a knife, and he felt like if it was his family member that was about to be cut with a knife, that he would want the police to take action and shoot, you know. And also he also has a biased opinion because according to Envy, his father was a 30-year DJ Envy father is a former officer who worked with in New York City police office for 30 something years or whatever. So he has more of a biased opinion, and he's more so for like you know, policing and everything else. But he basically was trying to say that the shooting was very justifiable. Now I'm gonna see if I could just bring this clip up here and let you guys hear it, because I really want y'all to hear it come out of his mouth. This is something that you gotta hear it to believe it. And then we gonna get into Wendy Williams we're gonna also get into Jocelyn Hernandez reading the hell out of Wendy Williams. But let me just play this clip real quick and you guys can hear exactly what I'm talking about.
That is because everybody.
All right, so let's play this.
Honestly don't. And the reason I don't think that is because everybody sees one side. But now think about the other side. Think about that was your daughter about to get stabbed. You want them to dead.
We keep saying that. We
stop the person from doing it.
We keep saying that, but
that's the truth.
No, I'm a father. That's my daughter. I'm not
a
police officer who's there to protect and serve.
They are there
everyone.
to protect and serve.
So
they are there.
We keep saying that. It's different when I'm a father and a daughter. And I still don't know if I would shoot a girl 4 times. No, that's excessive.
You can use deadly force when somebody else is in harm, and in that situation, that girl was in harm.
Police officers use deadly force with us all the time.
That doesn't mean it right.
Even when nobody is in danger. That's how they approach us all the time. Fatal force cannot be the only option when it comes to dealing with black people. There's a million videos you can see of black people complying. Black people laying on the ground in handcuffs. Black people like in the situation like Ma'Khia Bryant. The Latino boy from last week in Chicago. It's fatal force every single time. There's got to be another way to deal with us.
You can say that 1,000,001 times, but every case is different. And in this case, if I pull up to a scene and see a girl chasing another girl about to stab a girl, my job as a police officer is to make sure that girl does not get killed.
Absolutely.
And the law allows me to stop that killing or that stabbing by any means necessary. That's what that law allows me to do. And on both sides, if my daughter was about to get stabbed, I would want that person taken down, shot, or anything by any means necessary. And that's what a cop's job's to do, to protect and to serve. And
they don't do that.
That cop protected that young girl. Now, we could talk about every case and talk about, well, what about this case? What about that case? But you can't, you got to talk case by case.
Well, let me ask you a question.
All those other cases might have been wrong, but in this case, that cop made a split decision to say, you know what, I'm saving this girl's life.
Do you really think that cop cared about that girl in the pink? Because if he cared about that girl in the pink, why would you shoot 4 times? She was right there. She could have got hit too. Do you really think he cared about that girl in the pink that much? If he cared so much, why didn't he look sad after it was over? Why did he say Blue Lives Matter after it was over? If he was such a good cop like you said, and he was just there to save lives, why was there no remorse?
We can move the goalpost on every time we talk about.
So yes, you guys can hear that clip from what he was saying, and basically trying to say that the shooting was justified because Ma'Khia Bryant had a knife, and she could have killed that girl that she had at a knife point. I don't know. I just feel like it was a way for it to be intervened, and I feel like the cops was not needed if the man that was over there kicking the girl on the ground in the first place controlled Ma'Khia and told her to stay in the house, because she is still a child, and him as a man, if he's the man of the household, he should have stopped that entire situation scenario from happening. It's a shame that we have to keep reporting these situations. It's draining, it's exhausting, and flat out I'm just tired of hearing about it, y'all. So anyways, do y'all believe what DJ Envy said? Do y'all think that he was right? A lot of people is dragging him right now on Twitter. They're like basically trying to call him certain names that I can't say on the microphone and stuff like that for the stuff that he just basically said. And do you feel like the tables would have been turned if Ma'Khia Bryant was not black? You know what I mean? It's just so much to unfold in a particular with a situation like that, and just in general in Black America when it comes to cops and stuff like that. It's exhausting. You know what I'm saying? Me being in America is exhausting, and I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's days that I'm paranoid. You know, I get paranoid. You know, I've had incidents with the cops before, being harassed and stuff like that. So I know that it's real. You know, racial profile and things like that. That stuff is real. You know what I mean? But you know, I hope that I just want to see some laws passed that will make it so it's illegal for some of these cops to behave the way that they do towards minorities, and make it illegal for them to just murder people in cold blood. And you know, we know that the killer of George Floyd, Derek Chauvin, you know, he's been convicted and he's supposed to get sentenced in June. But they also arraigned him as well for an alleged situation that happened a few years back with another person. So he might be getting more time. So do y'all feel like the George Floyd situation in regards to his trial and Derek Chauvin being convicted, is this a real step forward for you know, black people who deals with injustice at the hands of cops, you know what I mean, or you know, or dealing with racism and stuff like that? Do you think that's a step forward? Y'all comment below and y'all tell me what y'all think about that situation. And we're going to talk about the next subject now. Joseline Hernandez, okay? And most of y'all guys know who Joseline Hernandez is from Love and Hip Hop and the Puerto Rican princess, whatever. She decided to go on the Wendy Williams show this week, Wednesday, to promote her show that she got on Zeus. And Joseline basically came out and just started reading Wendy Williams for filth, and I don't even know if we was quite ready for what, like, I didn't understand why. Like, it just got real.
Yeah, where were you at when you found out that he actually...
Hold on. It just got real. Wow. I'm trying to do this sound. This sound be popping in and out, y'all. There's so much going on. There's a lot of videos on here I'm trying to get through. But anyway, yeah, Joseline Hernandez went on the Wendy Williams show. Okay, this week. Today's Friday, right? So this week, Wednesday, she went on the Wendy Williams show, and she basically called Wendy Williams out and basically was trying to say that Wendy Williams was shady. She was tired of the way that she treated people in black culture. She basically just like held Wendy Williams to task over the many decades of her, you know, dragging black performers and entertainers and not giving them their flowers. And it, you know, it get real testy to the point where by the end of the video, Wendy Williams is like taking a damn dead flower and throwing it at her, because you know it's a virtual interview. You know what I'm saying? She ain't been having people in her audience in like a year or whatever. And you know, it made people on social media start praising Joseline for calling Wendy Williams out and basically saying like, yeah, you know, it's about time somebody stood up to Wendy Williams. You know what I mean? Wendy Williams was confused and flabbergasted. She said, you know, in the extended clip of the video, do we pull the plug? Like, what are we doing here? Like, what is all this drama? You know what I'm saying? And Joseline just seemed pressed. Like, when she came in, she just got straight to the point and was just like, listen, I'm not dealing with your ex today. Like, basically, I need you to stop being so mean. And then she just go in and says to Wendy Williams, you are 35 years my senior. It just was, baby, it was just a whole lot, okay? And of course, I got the footage, of course, and I'm gonna play it for you guys so you guys can hear it, you know, and then we're gonna talk about this further and discuss this whole ordeal. But yeah, it's wild. Let me just play this down real quick.
I'm an accomplished woman, and I just feel like every time I come to your show, you don't give me those flowers now, you know. And you're 35 years my senior.
Ow. Yes.
I should get those flowers.
Shame.
Like, I should feel wanted by people, like not just me, all the other young girls.
You are wanted by me. I always say that you're very entertaining.
But we feel like you be trying us. We feel like you don't be really rooting for us. You know, we feel like, and especially with me, every time I come on your show, you always want to compare me to another broad. I don't need to be compared. I've made my own brand. I've made my own brand for years. You know, I've been out here for the past decade. I got my own show. I franchised my own show to another network. I have the #1 show in the country. I have an actual cabaret show.
No, you have the #1 show on Zeus, and you got renewed for a third season, which is to be commended.
The #1 show in the country, Miss Wendy.
It's okay.
And I just want you to know that, I want you to know how I feel. I want you to know that I feel like every time I come on here,
you feel undervalued. Well, so do I. Okay.
All right, so that's the most I'm gonna play just to make sure everything is like, you know, copyright infringement and all that stuff, because that's from the Wendy show. But anyway, she basically was telling Jocelyn that she also feels undervalued. At the end of the clip, you hear her say, I feel that you're saying that you feel undervalued. I feel undervalued too, stuff like that, and basically trying to say that she understands Jocelyn's plight. But also Jocelyn comes back and basically saying that, Wendy, you're not in an abusive relationship no more. You don't have to be mean to us. You're always mean to the Black or Latino entertainers and celebrities on your show, and you're nasty. And basically just going in and just, you know, reading Wendy for filth. And I just like, you know, hey, listen, okay. And I'm going to give it off the perspective of, you know, a more humane perspective. Like, do I agree with what Jocelyn said? Yes. Okay. As a viewer, as a person who, you know, because us like is just people that's a part of like urban culture in general are very sensitive, and we feel, you know, undervalued just in general. You know what I mean? So I see what she was going, because Wendy Williams do be shady towards her guests. You know what I'm saying? And do make them feel lower than themselves and stuff like that. So I feel like Jocelyn had a point in regards to calling out Wendy a little bit, but it was just awkward and the timing was off, because I don't recall Wendy Williams like dragging or dogging her on her show. Like, I feel like Wendy Williams actually liked Jocelyn, you know what I mean? So it was just weird. And from Wendy's perspective, I feel like Wendy Williams is just doing her job, and I feel like that's the professional part that Jocelyn Hernandez is missing. The lady is just doing her job. Her job for the past 35 years have been putting people's business out on the street, being a media personality, you know what I mean? She gained her career off of, you know, throwing celebrities under the bus, similar to how TMZ does it, but, you know, they're nicer about it. But Wendy Williams is a trailblazer, and if she didn't have that approach to her radio broadcasting, she wouldn't be as historic as she is right now. She probably wouldn't have a TV show, because, you know, with this radio podcasting thing, everybody starts to blend in after a while. It's hard to find people to stand out. And one thing I can say about Wendy Williams is she stands out. You know what I'm saying? And she says whatever she want to do, you know, say what she want to say. And like she said, she say it like she mean it at the end of the day. So I feel like, you know, Jocelyn does have a good point. You know, Wendy Williams can be a bit too harsh. There's been times where I would watch her do interviews and it was cringeworthy, okay? And I'd be like, why? Like, oh my God, did she just say that to this person? Or like, yo, why is she so shady and stuff like that? And I would watch it as a viewer and I'd just be like, okay, nah, like, you tripping. But, you know, at the same time, Wendy Williams is just doing her job. You know what I'm saying? And the funny part is, at the end of it, you know, Wendy was being real shady and was basically talking about some Jocelyn is actually number 2 show and her show is number 1. And it was just, you know, funny, whatever. But the clip in there, of course, you got to go to the Wendy Williams show for that. But do you agree with what Jocelyn has said to Wendy Williams? Do you agree the way that she presented it to Wendy? Do you feel like she should have either called Wendy behind the scenes and had a discussion? Even Wendy Williams said that Jocelyn had pre-warned the producers that she wasn't feeling Wendy. And our thing is, like, if you don't like Wendy Williams, why did you come on her show? Or did you just literally come on her show just to read her for filth and like promote your show? You know what I mean? But a part of me, I think that even though this was a read, you know, that she wanted to give Wendy Williams, I feel like she also wanted some publicity, because she is trying to promote her show, like the Cabaret, whatever it is, and she basically is training strippers to be more classy and stuff. And I feel like if she did like a basic interview, I don't think it would have got as much publicity. Of course it wouldn't get as much publicity, you know, without her like coming out and saying that. You know what I mean? It might have been like a basic, oh, Jocelyn's here, she's promoting her show. But, you know, Jocelyn is a reality TV star. And she's become a successful reality TV star because she knows how to stir up drama to keep that money coming in and keep people interested and stuff like that, because she's an actor, and you know what I mean? She's an actor when it comes to reality TV, you know what I mean? And she knows what the camera needs for people to just be like, yo, yeah, I want to see more, I need more drama. So like for me, it's like, you know, if I was someone who thought so plainly, I would view it and say like, oh man, Jocelyn is just trying to do a favor for black folks and Hispanic folks of culture, and you know, and get, you know, tell her to give us our flowers while we're here, and you know, this and this and all that, you know. And I would say that if I was thinking of it and viewing it in a plain manner. But viewing it from a more deep perspective, you know what I'm saying, analyzing it and reading between the lines, to me, I feel like it was partially because she felt the way, but partially a publicity stunt, and she had to get a little bit more attention than what she was getting as a guest on her show. So she did what she needed to do, you know what I'm saying? And if you guys tell me if y'all think that Jocelyn was sincere when it comes to her calling out Wendy Williams, or do you guys feel like she wanted to do that just so she can, you know, be trending? You know what I mean? She's smart businesswoman, like she said to Wendy Williams, and she built herself from the bottom and she came from the gutter, and look at her now. She didn't get there because she's dumb, and you know, she's a reality TV star. She knows how to stir controversy, provoke people to be interested. That's just how celebrities are in general. They, you know, they don't make no money if you don't pay attention. You know what I mean? So I feel like, you know, yeah, she called out Wendy Williams, she read it for filth, but if I was thinking of it plainly, I would sit here and say, yeah, oh my God, she read Wendy and she's doing something for the cause. Like, but you know, think of it from a business perspective, entertainer perspective. I feel like her main ulterior motive was to build publicity and to go trending when that video was released, and it did exactly what she wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? Because she was thinking, okay, Wendy Williams is a big platform, but how can I make this situation and amplify the situation even further? You know what I'm saying? So I can get free publicity that I ain't got to pay for. You know what I'm saying? Now she's on the damn Shade Room for cursing Wendy Williams out. She's everywhere. You know what I mean? Still, I post her on my Instagram page. A clip from my Instagram page. You know what I mean? By the way, follow me on Instagram at the DJ Jerica Podcast if you don't already. I put all like the video clips and like news briefings from my website, djjericapod.com there. So if you guys want more content and stuff like that, if you guys just like to see what's going on in the news, follow y'all. I mean, listen, I have so many articles put out there. Yo, it's just I've been working, y'all, for real. Like I've been out here working my ass off. Now on to the other news that I also want to talk about. Look, y'all, the Joe Budden podcast. Hey everybody, I'm back again, right? Let me just say this real quick. We're going to talk about the Joe Budden podcast. So let's talk about the Joe Budden podcast. Rory and Mal has finally returned to the show this week. Yeah, oh my God. Let me just clap. You know, it's just me, but I'm going to give a hand clap. Whatever was going on behind the scenes, they was able to work it out. And now we have a Joe Budden's podcast once again with the two main hosts, Rory and Mal. Now, I did listen to their comeback episode, and they broke a few things down to the audience without saying too much, because I'm pretty sure they're not going to say everything in detail. But they did basically say that Joe Budden kind of told Rory not to come back to work, and it was more so a thing with him and Rory, and then Mal basically saying he had loyalty with Rory, and he decided to leave as well because he viewed their friendship and everything else as just like a one for all, all for one type of situation. All right. Now, from me seeing Mal talking, you know, in his face, I think that he was sincere about, you know, caring more about their friendship than he did like about the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Basically talking about like once the respective friendship goes out the window, sometimes, you know, you got to decide whether you want to stay or go and stuff like that. And he wanted to make sure that while he was on the show, they all still had mutual respect for each other as friends, because they started it off as friends. And, you know, they basically divulged in like a 3-hour segment exactly kind of what caused the breaking up of the group, and also call out a few people who was Mal said he realized were fake, and praying for the Joe Budden podcast downfall, and, you know, excited and enticed by the fact that they left the show and that they may not be coming back. You know what I mean? And he said it made him open his eyes and realize that there's certain people who support you, you know, and make it seem like they support you until some shit goes down, and then they're celebrating the fact that you guys aren't together. Now, Rory goes into details a little bit, basically saying that Joe Budden sent him a text message telling him not to come back to work, and Joe was pretty much involved. Now, the thing I had a problem with kind of is like when Joe Budden was presenting this issue to the public before these guys came back, he made it seem like Rory and Mal just woke up in the morning and just said, today I'm quitting the podcast. It was more so all three of them being around, and Joe being heavily involved in influencing Rory to want to move forward and leave the podcast. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like I'm glad that they were able to work their situation out, but I would hate to see this happen again. And then what happens with the show? You know what I mean? Another thing they also discussed was, you know, talking about just them not doing the show because of friendship, but seeing that the show must go on, they felt the way about Joe Budden bringing in some co-hosts to talk on their behalf of Rory and Mal, because they view their friendship as stronger. Now, this is my part where I step in on this situation to say business is business. And I feel like the problem with most people in the urban business world of entertainment is they forget business and they're always blurring the line of business and friendship. And, you know, they can feel a way as a friend, but if you guys signed up to be co-hosts of the Joe Budden podcast, you have to understand that this is his livelihood. This is how you pay the bills. Even a producer on the side basically said, like, yo, we couldn't stop just because you decided to quit. We got to keep moving. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, it was an interesting perspective on that. And that's the thing that people don't understand. Like, just because you're doing business with a friend doesn't mean that if you guys going through a business squabble that everything regarding that business is supposed to crumble. Like, business is business at the end of the day, and family is family. And if you guys want to handle it separately, I think you should. You shouldn't carry it all together and blend it all together. And if it does happen, you got to understand what could be the possible ramifications of working with a friend, and also working with a friend on a project that's related to business, like a podcast or anything where there's financial equity involved and L's to take, you know, financially. You know what I'm saying? You got to think that stuff through, like whether you want to mix that business and pleasure together. You know what I'm saying? Do you want to take the chance of that, and if it's worth it at the end of the day? You know what I mean? Basically on that podcast, they go into details on why they left the show and how they decided to collectively come back to the show. And, you know, all I can do is sit back and wait. You know what I'm saying? They both were saying that they believe, you know, all good things come to an end. And they had a different, like, their own perspective on the situation while they was going through it. But more so, I feel like they're happy to be back. But I don't know, like, I feel like Joe Budden is kind of like on his last leg. So hopefully he doesn't do anything else to F it up, unless he really just don't want to have them as co-hosts anymore. You know what I mean? But even if it doesn't work out, I will hope that they still will be able to keep their friendship intact. And that's the tricky part of mixing business with pleasure per se, or business and friendship per se, is that if you know, the business don't work out, the friendship is in jeopardy. Or if the business don't work out, the relationship is in jeopardy. And that's something that you just don't want to mix. But you kind of want to have that aspect if you're doing a podcast and you guys are talking about stuff. You want to talk to people that you have chemistry with. Like me, this is a DJ Jerica podcast, and all you're getting is DJ Jerica, okay? Like, I don't feel the need of having a co-host. You know, I don't feel the need of that, because honestly, the more people you have, the more drama. I'll do a co-host here and there, like somebody come on, oh, this person is so-and-so I know. You know, I do a guest where I love interviewing people, you know, on some journalist stuff and like learning their stories and stuff. Yeah, but overall, like having a podcast and having to rely on people to show up every day, I've had experiences of that, and people just not showing up, and it's just being being a mess. It's just been like, you know, no, like, you know, so, and sometimes you gotta cope with that and figure out, like, is it possible for me to be so entertaining that I can host the show for an hour to 2-3 hours by myself, and you will sit here and hear me talk all day? You know what I'm saying? It takes someone with true talent and be able to do that. Like right now, I know I've been talking for over an hour, but you're still sitting here listening to me. And if you are, thank you. But you know, sometimes there's people that's like me, who can sit here for 2-3 hours and talk and keep you entertained and be fine with it and sleep well at night, knowing that I don't have to deal with all of this extra stuff. And then there's people like Joe Budden who, you know, finds value in co-hosts. He needs his co-hosts. They're like, it's kind of like the big three in basketball. You know what I mean? You need your center, you need your forward, you need your point guard. Like, everybody need each other. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, you got to think of, can you man the battleship by yourself? You know? But it's his podcast, so he can do whatever he wants because that's his podcast. You know what I mean? But that's just something that I personally noticed. And I just you know, I feel like with the Joe Budden's podcast, you know, they are really making history for how long they've been on air, for the people that they've interviewed on the show, you know, just the overall entertainment, brand quality, you know, and the fun that they have for those 3 hours that they're sitting there talking to viewers, you know, and the production, you know. So, you know, I would hope that they're able to keep it together and, you know, keep it together. You know, my only message for Joe Budden this time, and also for some of you guys that was on there, y'all see my other video that I did about Joe Budden, that got a lot of views. Like, it almost got like 1,000 views. So I want to thank y'all for watching that. And some of you guys are commenting below like, oh, why would you say the things I said? But you know, I don't know if Joe Budden watched my video. I don't know. But I'm glad that he made a decision on his friendships and understanding the importance of keeping loyal people around him. And it's so funny because one of the guys has said that on the podcast, like the importance of keeping loyal people around him and, you know, not throwing their relationships in the trash, because, you know, that's what Ma was talking about, is how shady and stingy people is in the music industry, you know what I mean? And how they're fake, you know what I mean? So it's important, it's a beneficial situation, not only for Joe Budden, because he has these people as co-hosts, but it's also beneficial for Rory and Mal, because they have a relationship. All of them are beneficial. All of them benefits from this entire scenario. You know what I'm saying? So y'all tell me if y'all are excited about them coming back. I know that the ratings had took a serious dip since they left, and maybe Joe Budden realized that as well. It's like, yo, we got to get this together because it's messing up the business aspect. Do y'all think that their relationships can stay intact and it won't get any crazy? You know, Joe Budden is known for pissing people off. Is it possible that they're able to stay united on one front and continue to make podcast history, you know? And how long do you think the podcast will continue to last after this, you know? Like I said, was it Rory and Mal said that they didn't want to go out on no corny stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because it was kind of corny, you know? The situation was corny. It would have been corny for them to go out that type of way over a very preventable situation, you know what I'm saying? So, y'all tell me what y'all think about the Joe Budden podcast. Are y'all excited about Rory and Mal returning? Did y'all feel the energy? Did y'all feel like the chemistry was still there? Do y'all, you know, what do y'all expect now in this new chapter of Joe Budden podcast after they left and came back? You know what I mean? And, you know, should Joe Budden still trust them? Listen, I know that they was pointing the finger at Joe and saying like, yo, Joe did this and that's this and that. And Mal was saying that his loyalty was going to go to Rory because it's teamwork. But he kind of like, technically it would be kind of like viewed as some kind of like turning on Joe. So can he still trust them like they used to? Do you think that he still trusts them the same as he did before? Y'all tell me what y'all think. That's just my perspective on it. I know a lot of y'all was pissed off with my last video because I basically was saying like, Joe Budden, y'all need to get it together. It's this and this. But for real, like, I feel like Joe Budden's podcast can get so much bigger, you know what I mean, than what it is if they could just keep their shit together and really try to fight all of the bad people around them that wants to see the downfall of the podcast. I'm talking from a viewer's perspective, a listener's perspective, you know what I'm saying? And I really want to see the Joe Budden podcast make history and even hell get a TV deal. I don't know if it's on TV yet. Is it on Revolt? Like maybe Revolt give them a TV deal, something major big, because it's only so much you can do with you're just on Spotify, YouTube and stuff like that. But I want to see them elevate even further, and I hope that they don't let their friendship and business mix together and destroy one of the greatest cultural podcasts ever made when it comes to this hip-hop sector. You know what I'm saying? But y'all tell me what y'all think about that. And then, of course, if it's anything else to happen with the Joe Budden podcast, I will make another video about that, and we will talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. We will discuss it. So y'all tell me what y'all think about that. And outside of that, let me just talk about my personal situation anyway. But yeah, y'all, I've been working real hard with this podcast on the website, djjericapod.com. Make sure you guys sign up right now. I just had to tell you guys right now that you can sign up for an email subscription, a mailing email listing to be notified every time I drop a new news article on the site. I have my website on autopilot, so it's new news dropping every other hour, new stuff coming out for y'all already prepared. So if you guys haven't already, go to the website djjericapod.com to get all of the gossip and news that I'm talking about. That is also available on the site, so you guys can indulge even more, be able to see what I'm talking about, listen to what I'm talking about, and give me your opinions on the things that I'm talking about. Did I say talking about like 10 times? Possibly. Anyway, if you guys on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Like I said before, I am on the road to, I'm not going to tell y'all, but my subscribers, I have a number in my head and I'm reaching the number. So thank you to all the new subscribers that's on my channel. I wanted to take a thank you, a big thank you to all my YouTube subscribers that's on my channel, supporting my brand, showing me love. You know, it takes a lot of time to do this, ladies and gentlemen, and I appreciate everybody who's been patient with me while I try to get this whole thing together. You know, me taking a long hiatus and it takes a lot of time to do this production work. It takes a lot of time to be a media brand myself. And also, of course, now I have my other YouTube channel, DJ J Erica Music Mixes, where I put music mixes from like R&B artists, hip hop, throwback music. If you guys like that, subscribe. That's on the channel too. It's on my channel tab. If you go on this page, main channel, you could go down and you'll see the additional channel page for DJ J Erica Mixes. Subscribe there. And then other things to discuss today. I had to talk to, all right, and I'm gonna do this real quick and say what I need to say to the Neezy Gang. Okay, this is going out to the Neezy Gang. If you guys don't watch YouTube, you guys will not know who these people are I'm talking about. This segment might go like 5 minutes long, okay? Just a FYI, just a pre-warning. But I want to talk about the IG live that I posted of Young Eazy and Natalie Odell, and all of the people from Neezy Gang coming at me on my platform, upset for me doing what I do best, which is blog and talk about the things that these celebrities do, okay? Now, in regards to everything that has happened, I'm pretty sure if you're watching this clip, it's because you guys know Young Eazy and Natalie Odell inside and out. You guys watch their content, you're big supporters and stuff like that, which is fine. But I want to talk about the videos that I posted and break down exactly what had allegedly happened. Okay, y'all want to know what allegedly happened, why they allegedly stopped talking and everything else, and I'm gonna break it down detail by detail in this segment so you understand what happened and I understand what happened, and you guys can get a little bit off my back in regards to this whole thing, because everyone is upset with me when meanwhile, okay, this is literally Young Eazy going on her IG lives, putting her relationship with Natalie Odell on blast, okay, and basically trying to make claims and say that she's for the streets and say all these nasty things about her. Now, for the first video, Young Eazy is basically saying that Natalie was for the streets, saying that she ain't talked to her in 3 days. Supporters is on the page commenting like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? And she's just, oh, she's for the streets. You know what I'm saying? Just being disrespectful, okay? Everybody's trying to figure out what's going on. Now, fast forward. Now we got people from Neezy's fan camp that followed me, okay, giving me the spill in the tea, basically saying that she thought that Natalie went to Chris Brown's house, you know, and thinking that Natalie was out here swerving and doing things with Chris Brown on the side or whatever the situation may be, and she said that she ain't talked to Natalie in like 3 days. So this made Young Eazy decide she felt the best solution was to go on IG Live and tell everybody that she hadn't spoke to Natalie in 3 days, which is crazy to me. It's like, okay, now, second thing, after this happens, everybody's going crazy. What's going on? Oh, this ain't true. Y'all misinterpreting. Y'all this, and this. Then, Young Eazy goes on IG Lives again. This time, apologizing to Natalie for putting their relationship and business all on blast for the whole world to see. Okay, and one thing I can say, ladies and gentlemen, I am great when it comes to IG lives. I am that ish, okay? I put out the best IG lives when it comes to celebrities. When I record it, and I also have my own way of doing things to get you guys over there without people stealing my damn content. All right, she decided to go on social media. She decided to put her business out there. She decided to apologize to Natalie for lying on her. She lied on Natalie Odell, saying that she ain't talked to her in 3 days, like Natalie just brushed her off. In reality, Young Easy said from her mouth that she told Natalie not to talk to her. She told her not to talk to her, you guys. So it made it seem as if Natalie was dogging Young Easy, but now Easy's being exposed for being a liar. And this is a problem, okay? And I'm somebody who likes their videos. I want to see them be successful. I love the content they put out. They're funny and everything else. But what's not funny, if you're talking about a adult type of situation, an adult relationship, the one thing you don't do is try to publicly shame someone that you supposedly love. And most of you guys from the Neezy Gang is upset with me for just simply doing my job as a blogger, which I'm fine with. Look, I sit here and talk about celebrities all day. I talk about stuff that they do. And if you don't want your business to be discussed among the public, don't go on IG Lives putting your business in public. Like, I don't know their personal life. When we watch the videos, we don't know. We see 10 minutes of their life. But when you have on your side time Young Easy jumping on social media, saying things, saying that Natalie's for the streets, and then in the same breath a couple of days later, or say she ain't talked to her in 3 days, and a couple of days later coming on live saying, I'm sorry, I lied, it makes you think of stuff. And also it makes you think of, you know, Natalie's brother and the real reason why he allegedly does not like Easy. Like, can we talk about that? Can we talk about that? Because at first people were sitting there throwing out stuff saying that, oh, he's a homophobe, he's this, and this. But if someone treated my sister like that in Neezy Gang, let's think. If someone treated my sister like that, I would have a problem with them too. And this is more than one time that this has happened. And I'm not sitting here trying to promote the ending of their relationship in any form or fashion, but I'm also not going to encourage and say what Young Easy did was the biggest definition of loyalty. You know, and also if you guys like this, hit the subscribe button. It was not the biggest definition of loyalty. If you love somebody, you're not going to publicly shame them like that. You're not going to lie on them like that. And Natalie was on camera and they're all acting all cool and everything else. Easy talking about, so she drove 2.5 to 3 hours. Why can you drive 2.5 to 3 hours the day you decide to go on IG Live and try to turn the Neezy Gang against Natalie? And another thing, I'm also tired of you fake ass Neezy Gang supporters. Y'all are frauds, okay? The moment that there's any disloyalty shown on Natalie's behalf, all of a sudden you guys don't support her anymore. And me, personally, I'm as real as it get. That's what I built my name off of, spitting the real. And what I want to say is y'all not real. Can I say it again? Y'all not real, okay? Y'all not being real. Like, if y'all gonna support, y'all should support both of them, whether they stay in a relationship or not. And honestly, it's like, at this point, it's like Young Easy is exposing herself in the things that she been doing. Before, everybody was dragging Natalie's brother, everybody, and even me having an opinion on certain things and stuff like that, and it was a presentation that Easy wasn't doing anything, poor Easy, this, and this, but at the same time, she's over here doing unnecessary things to Natalie. And this could be a publicity stunt. I don't know. You know, when it comes to YouTubers, they do things to further expand their brand. You know, they might stir up a little drama just to get some articles and bloggers like myself to talk about them. I don't know. But what I do know that is real is that it's a lot of fake Neezy Gang supporters out there that half-ass support, okay? And they make it seem like they love them some Natalie Odell, as long as she stays put in a toxic relationship, okay? And I'm not trying to just throw that on a relationship. I'm gonna say allegedly, but what happened this week was very toxic. You don't go on social media blasting your girlfriend like that. If you really love somebody, you don't do stuff like that. And you do, for one, you know, it's embarrassing when you have you're a regular person per se, because they're not regular people anymore, right? They build a celebrity brand. They have almost 700,000 followers on YouTube alone, millions of people watching the things they do. It's one thing if you're a regular person with like the common 100 friends on Facebook and you do something like this, and that's embarrassing for your partner in the small scale, But when you do something like that, and you have the followers and the amount of followers that Young Easy and Natalie has, that's double embarrassing. That's double conniving. That's quadruple the amount, you know what I mean? And that's even more of a huge amount of carelessness. And I'm not saying that Natalie shouldn't forgive Young Easy, because we don't know what actually goes on in a relationship. We don't know what Natalie be doing in a relationship. Nobody is perfect. But I am saying to the Neezy Gang supporters out there is that if this happens to not work out, don't stop supporting Natalie because it didn't work out. If you are just a supporter of Young Easy, quietly just continue to support Young Easy and move about your day. But don't start all that cyberbullying shit, man. You know what I'm saying? And people be on here just get mad at me like, oh, that J Erica, she sits there and she wants to give her opinion to this and this. Oh, why you gotta? Because I'm a blogger, I'm a DJ. And if it's some gossip going around, if it's certain things that I want to sound off of, I want to sound off. It's kind of like all of the YouTubers that sit there and do reaction videos on Young Easy and Natalie's videos all day, and they build their entire channel around it, and they're doing common and they're putting their videos, stuff like that. You know, I don't do reaction videos. That's not my thing. But I do react to real life shit, and if this is real life, then I'm reacting to it. You know what I'm saying, y'all? So outside of that, let's dig deeper into what this whole thing unveils, you know, and it reveals, you know, in general, you know, and then I'm gonna say allegedly, you know, possibly, you know what I'm saying, but it reveals that, you know, maybe Easy has insecurities that she has to work through. Maybe Easy has a lot of things that her as a human being, and she needs to go to counseling. Like, we can sit here and watch Young Easy on social media, you know, bragging about her new Lamborghini and cars and all this other stuff that she done bought for herself and for Natalie, but I haven't seen not one time where this lady is like, yo, I'm gonna go get some counseling, because her behavior sometimes can be very juvenile. Now, I'm not trying to throw people age out there. Me, I'm 29 years old. I turned 30 this year. I'm proud of my age, you know. But seeing Young Easy at the age that she's at, she's almost like 28 years old. She's behaving like a teenager with the way that she's acting. And it's like, okay, it got to be some maturity on some part. There's nothing wrong with entertaining kids, because a lot of their fans out here in Easy Gang, their kids are young teenagers, 25, 20, you know, youngers. You know what I'm saying? So they don't be viewing relationships the way that a grown adult would view a relationship, or be able to spot certain things when it's fake or whatever. But at the same time, it's a personal thing that she needs to mature, because I mean, when you get so comfortable with disrespecting people and thinking it's cool, and you're playing these mind games with these kids, you're getting lost in the kiddish shit. And I feel like it's time for her to grow as a person, and if she needs counseling, to go get the counseling that she needs. You know what I'm saying? Natalie Odell particularly always, and I'm talking about Young Easy with that statement, but Natalie Odell particularly should also encourage that for Young Easy and for herself, if she is a person who's out here telling people about the importance of mental health and the importance of taking care of oneself, because you can't be exercising mental health and stability and using that as your beauty channel, Natalie, and you got all of this stuff going on where your relationship is looking crazy and unstable, and your girlfriend seeming mentally unstable, and it's just starting to become a wash. You know, I was actually talking to a Neezy Gang fan, and they basically had told me that they noticed that a lot of people was unsubscribing from their YouTube channel. Now, I don't know if they think that them pulling publicity stunts like this, you know, if it is a fake publicity stunt, but I'm talking like, you know what I mean, if they think this is help building the channel, but it's more so hurting the channel. So I would like to see the things that they're trying to do to improve this situation, you know what I mean, and not sit and wallow in the effery that we've been presented as viewers. You know what I'm saying? And you know, a lot of times when people go to my YouTube channel and they go on my page and stuff like that, and they see me put out these videos, they just assuming that I'm here to just capitalize on the BS. This is just my brand. This is the work that I do. I'm a podcaster. There's going to be times where you hear me do voiceovers and I'm not on camera. There's going to be times where I'm directly on the camera, proud, say it loud, and say what I got to say about a particular situation. And for me, I feel like this whole thing is built off of insecurities. Now, the story behind this thing, allegedly, is that, like I said before, Natalie allegedly went to Chris Brown's house. Allegedly, she put up a picture on Instagram showing that she was there. Easy was upset. A fan or a group of fans of Neezy Gang went on to social media asking her, has she seen Natalie? She says, oh, I haven't seen her in 3 days. This, and this. This ensues. She tells everybody that basically Natalie done ran off and wherever. with Chris Brown or whatever, okay? And now here we go with this new IG live that they posted at 1 something in the morning of them making up and her apologizing so much when she just drove 3 hours. Like, yeah. And then when I decided to report it, y'all excited, you know what I'm saying, when I'm posting it, you know, and you want to see the lives, but when I try to get my opinion, y'all got a problem with it. Y'all okay with me just posting the raw IG lives, but y'all got a problem with me doing what I do on my platform, which is giving my opinion on messy shit. And this stuff was messy, so I'm going to continue to give my opinion. But that's all I got to say to the Needs gang, whatever the situation may be. I just feel like my biggest message, you know what I'm saying? I want y'all to understand that I watch their videos, I'm a fan of their videos. I help them make a lot of money because I watch all their ads. And just because somebody has an opinion do not mean they're a hater. I'm happy for them. I want them to win. You know what I'm saying? It's inspirational to see people make money off of YouTube and capitalize and find success. I wish nothing but the best for them. But at the same time, I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something because that's what my platform is, to speak the real, and I'm going to speak the real about that. But anyways, if you guys are a fan of Young Easy, Natalie Odell, sound off, comment below, let me know. You know, and also shout out to all the new subscribers that came through in regards to me discussing those videos and everything else. I hope you guys, welcome you guys with open arms to this channel. It's nothing where I'm hating on them. I like their work. I think they're funny. But I don't think what Young Easy did was funny. And I don't think it was cool. And a lot of you guys didn't think so neither because y'all was commenting. But also, I don't like the fact that a lot of y'all is half-ass supporters. And sometimes y'all support Natalie and sometimes y'all don't. You know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is. And with that, I'm going to go back to another thing in regards to relationship and loyalty, okay? So, are we going to talk about Yandy Smith and Mendeecees? From Love and Hip Hop, okay? They're in this, like, Love and Hip Hop boot camp thing. And they're having a counseling session, right? And they're sitting there. And of course, for everybody to watch Love and Hip Hop with Yandy and him on it, Yandy held Mendeecees down while he was in jail for a long time. It had to have been at least 5 to 6 years. He was locked up for like drug trafficking, all types of stuff, right? So he was released. She was holding him down. Everybody was like all in their business trying to figure out why Yandy and Mendeecees didn't get married and everything else. And basically, more so people was trying to say that Yandy was trying to protect her brand, protect her money. She didn't want to get caught up in a situation, you know, where they were able to get money in her assets by being in a relationship with him and being married to him. There, you know, with restitution, when you deal with like a drug type of conviction and stuff like that, people have restitution. You got to pay the government back for stuff that you did for getting money, illegal money, and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So what's being collected allegedly while the show was airing is that Yandy didn't want that happen to her. She didn't want people coming for her money. She didn't want to deal with the women that Mendeecees also have kids with, allegedly coming and trying to collect financially while he was in jail. So, but she still was there for him. She took care of the kids that was not hers, that she didn't birth. She took custody of them and did what she needed to do and supported him, made sure that he had all the things that he needed to get through that jail sentence. Now they come forward and they're in his marriage camp and they're talking face to face, and you know, Yandy basically came out and said that she had a lot of frustration built up because a lot of her friends would say to her like, yo, you doing all this stuff for Mendeecees, but you know, would he hold you down if you were in the same situation? Would he hold you down if you were in jail, locked up? Kind of like how Papoose did for Remy Ma. You know, do he love you that much that he will be willing to stop his entire life? You know what I mean? And in the clip, basically, Mendeecees admits, you know, presumably, basically, that he wouldn't have held Yandy down like that. And that's one of the reasons why he basically kept saying to her over the phone, allegedly, that, you know, she doesn't have to do what she's doing, because deep down it comes from me. It comes from a guilty place where he's basically saying like, yo, I would not be doing all this for you. Why are you still sticking by me? Because I wouldn't be doing this for you. And it's like, it's interesting because it's like with him admitting that, I wonder, will the relationship last? Will the relationship last? Will they all of a sudden get a divorce? I think they're married now. Like, and why is it that, you know, women, and particularly black women, are so willing to hold out and take care of a man who's been locked up in prison for 30 years basically, or 15, 20, like long stints in prison, holding everything down, taking care of his kids, doing all of this stuff, and they're not technically married, but but it's not wouldn't be reciprocated. It's basically what he's saying. He wouldn't have reciprocated the thing back, or the olive branch, to her. So that lets you know, and shows how uneven and how, unevenly yoked a lot of black relationships are when it comes to men and women. And yeah, everybody, the moment I said that, someone commented and said, what about Papoose? I'm not talking about Papoose. He's like 1 in a million, okay? 1 in probably a billion that'll be willing to do that. For how long Remy Ma has been in jail, that's a long time to be trying to wait out on somebody and doing that. And big up to Papoose for doing it. But you guys, women are natural nurturers. Men are not. Men are hunters. Men are not. And excuse me if you guys hear noise in the background. It look like my neighbors is being loud. Lord, I need to move. My neighbors is so loud, I'll be recording and I'm just like, could y'all like be quiet? I'm trying to work right now. And it's pretty late. But anyways, I'm going off subject. Anyway, so yeah, why is it forced so hard in the black community that black women have to be ride or dies, but these guys wouldn't ride or die for them? You know what I'm saying? It's just so fucked up, like how people really operate. And honestly, I know Yandy feel like a fool because she was out here defending him, saying no, he would do it for me. He would come out and support me. He wouldn't, do anything, shady with me, and everything that I do for him, he'll do for me. Knowing in reality, deep down inside, she basically was saying that she knew that he probably wouldn't do it for her. So it's like, well, what are you doing? Is it because you got kids with him? Like, why would you do that to yourself? Why hinder yourself from being able to be in a relationship that doesn't require the feds involvement and everything else? I mean, the only thing that you can answer is that, she loves him. But in this scenario, it looks as if she loves Mendeecees more than Mendeecees love her. That's just what it is. Because if you love somebody as hard as she did, he would be willing to do what Papoose did for Remy Ma. And if he ain't willing to do what Papoose did for Remy Ma, what she did for him, that lets you know the status of that relationship. That lets you know who is valuing the relationship more. And he basically admitted it on camera that no, I wouldn't been doing all the stuff that you was doing. I wouldn't be going as hard as you was with me going to jail. So it's like, it's just so messed up. Like, do you feel like it's a double standard when it comes to men and women, and when it comes to loyalty and women, in particular, like with black people, when it comes to relationships, that the women are willing to hold men down who's not willing to hold them down? Y'all tell me what y'all think. And like I said, I'm not a relationship expert. I'm not claiming that. This is just something that had popped up in the news, and I just like, man, I got to talk about it because it was just crazy. Because I followed that entire storyline. Like, I watched Love and Hip Hop every season with them on it, even when he got locked up. And she went out there getting her ass whooped. She went out here protesting him. It's just sad when you see black women like trying to give loyalty and support to people who's not giving loyalty support back to them. All right. So, anyways, with that being said, I'm gonna hop over to the music segment. Okay. DJ Khaled dropped his new song, okay, and it features Jay-Z and Nas, and it's called Sorry Not Sorry. And of course, the moment that you hear Jay-Z and Nas is doing a collaboration, everyone is like, oh hell yes, like this shit is about to be bumping, this shit is about to be crazy. And then you add in the production of DJ Khaled, and you're thinking, oh man, this gotta be a higher record. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I watched the video and I listened to it, and I was very disappointed in the song. And people might come in here crying, comment below, oh, you don't know nothing, and because y'all support Jay-Z and Nas. This has nothing to do with it. It comes down to DJ Khaled Productions. Okay, I believe he should have gave a better beat, a better song arrangement for Jay-Z and Nas to be freestyling on. I feel like the song was too slow tempo for me. I didn't enjoy the beat to the song. The arrangements for the chorus was a little awkward. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just wish it was like a different chorus or something. It just was a no for me. You know what I mean? I of course, when Jay-Z and Nas bars and they together and they in the collaboration, of course the bars is gonna be fire. That's just a fact. The bars is gonna be fire. That's something that we all know. But when you have a beat that's not so hot, or you have a hook that's not hitting as hard, it messes up the entire arrangement of the song. And for me, I feel like it messed it up for me. Like, you know what I mean? And a lot of people probably watching this review of what I'm saying about the song and being like, because y'all sensitive because I'm talking about like Jay-Z and Nas. And immediately when you hear Jay-Z and Nas, you gotta be like, I praise, but I don't praise nobody but God. But that's just how y'all act, right? But in the real world, I'm critiquing DJ Khaled. Y'all not critiquing Nas and Jay-Z. Clearly, Jay-Z knows what he's doing. He has like 25 Grammys. You know, Nas is Nas. You know what I'm saying? They know what they're doing, but the production on DJ Khaled's end, you know, it was a no for me. If you're gonna put Jay-Z and Nas on an album, on a record together, the production, the arrangements, the beat, it gotta work, it gotta hit. And I get it, it was more of a slow tempo, maybe it'll grow on me, but this is my first like non-biased, like uncensored thoughts with the first time I heard the song. Like, I put the video on djzericpod.com so you guys can check it out, but I just feel like Nas bars was crazy, Jay-Z bars was crazy. The chorus wasn't doing much for me in the overall beat production. It just wasn't hitting, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like this is a thing where you measure namesake against actual quality in production. Now, Jay-Z and Nas might have liked the beat. I don't know. Maybe they got paid really good and they decided, okay, let's go ahead and do it, and they're going to give some solid bars at least. So they're not more concerned about what he's doing because it's DJ Khaled's album. But I just feel like that beat just didn't match. And I kind of wish that he also gave more of a summertime banger hit with Jay-Z and Nas. I know that Jay-Z and Nas are like 50 years old and they're older rappers and they're expecting some more mature, more boom boom pat type of stuff, but I feel like we could have got something more up tempo from them. You know what I mean? I don't know. You know, y'all can watch the video. The video was cool. Video was nice, you know what I mean? But I just feel like the song was just a little awkward for me. I don't know. But anyway, y'all tell me what y'all think about that. I seen the video, cool video, but I feel like the song, it just wasn't hitting. DJ Khaled also supposed to have put out a song with Cardi B as well, and people was basically dragging that song, basically saying, you know, that people be overhyping stuff because of the star power of the individual and not measuring the actual sound and talent and just the production of the song overall. And I feel like that's the biggest thing when it comes to our culture, why the music industry has gone downhill, is because we stopped viewing and supporting music because it's really, really good, and, you know, giving our honest, unbiased opinion on the song, whether it's really, really good, no matter who made a song. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I haven't heard the whole album. DJ Khaled just dropped the whole album. Between me hearing a snippet of Cardi B's song and the Jay-Z and Nas record, I don't know. I'm not really looking forward to hearing the entire project. And that's just me. I don't know. Maybe he wanted to more darker song, but I'm used to like listening to Khaled. It's like, yo, like it's waking you up. It's like, and that song didn't wake me up. It just was. It was forget. It was. If it was not for Jay-Z and Nas being on that track, it was very forgettable. And that's just what it is. And y'all could sit here and drag me in the comments all you want, but like I said, this is my podcast, this is my opinion. You can comment your opinions below. I love all your opinions. Yeah, it's so funny. I seen people comment on the other video I did, and they were under there just going in on me. Oh, you're a blogger. Oh, you sit here, you talk about people. I know, and this is why I do it every day, because I love doing it. I love talking. Like, I don't know, you know, this makes me happy. I like to do this every day. You know what I'm saying? My life is busy, but, you know, I'm always coming back to my podcast to talk about the stuff that's going on in the world, and having discussions and things of that nature about things that's going on. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, being a podcaster and doing this work, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy, you know, to go through the list of topics and gossip and everything else that goes on, you know, it takes a lot of time, you know, and I love talking to you guys about it. But anyways, we're going to move forward and talk about Lil' Kim. So good news, you guys, okay? Lil' Kim has just finished her memoir. She just announced that the memoir will be coming out in the fall, and she told everybody to pre-order it, all right? And on Twitter, she said, it's finally here. That's right, the book, Lil' Kim, the Queen Bee life story, dropping in November. You thought you knew me, but you had no idea. Thank you, Cat 3000 and Hatchet Books, for helping me get my story out. Pre-order it now. So she put it out. She had put the promo up on it. It definitely looks good. The memoir is called Lil' Kim, the Queen Bee. So I'm looking forward to hearing it. And you know what makes me more excited about hearing this? Because, like, I believe in a Notorious movie. She was very, very vocal in saying that she was not involved in the production of it and that her story wasn't actually told in that. So I'm looking forward to actually hearing an uncut version of Lil' Kim and her life and the stuff that she actually experienced. Like, we had Mariah Carey put out her memoirs like last year, and she revealed a lot of things. So I'm looking forward to Lil' Kim, you know, freely speaking about her life, things that she wants to tell us about her life, and her experience as being like one of the top hip-hop queens, you know what I'm saying, that's been out here for a long time doing her thing, you know, and the things that she experienced while building that fame. And you know, I hope she goes into details in regards to like her mental health, and you know, because you know, it's just certain things, but I'm not gonna go into that. But I just want to know, like, you know, what Lil' Kim goes through. You know, what pressure is she under when it comes to being a celebrity? And, you know, how does she really get herself established in hip-hop outside of the stories that we've seen on Notorious, where she said she wasn't involved in that? So I want to know her perspective, unbiased. And maybe Lil' Kim can make her own biopic movie, you know what I mean, about things that she's experienced in life, which would be interesting. I would love to see that. And I'm seeing that she got a memoir. A lot of times people build films and movies off of memoirs. So it would be really, really cool to see Lil' Kim talking about, you know, just, you know, her rendition and her film of that memoir. It's nice to see her talking about her life, but I would love to see it on the big screen and just get the full experience of the things that she's been through. And I hope it won't be a rush movie. If Lil' Kim decide to do a biopic, Lil' Kim, please don't make it a rush film. Like, you know, give us 3 hours of goodness. Like, you know, even if it's a mini series, like, you know, don't cheat us. You know, a lot of times, and please don't go to Lifetime, because Lifetime is like the worst people to work with when it comes to biopics. Can you say cheap? Okay, like, I just hope that she gets like a real good production team if she decides to like take this book memoir on the road and make a movie from it. It would be good. I mean, Kim has been in the industry for nearly 30 years. Like, what has been like 28 something years she's been out here. So I mean, she has a lot of experience and things that she could just sit and talk about all day. But in other news, yo, Trey Songz, okay, it looks like he won't be being charged with any type of crime or felony following an incident that he had with the police officers at an NFL game. Okay, now peep this out. Okay, now Trey Songz, basically, he was out at a game. Okay, it looked as if he was just like, you know, maybe, you know, a little drunk, whatever. But the police basically ran up on him, like, was trying to tackle him, like, because he didn't have his face mask on. And it just got real messy. And then next thing you know, he was detained, and they had, like, you know, detained him, arrested him, whatever. And luckily, the people over there that, what did this happen? Let me double check it. It happened in Jackson County, Missouri. They decided to have a change of heart and decided not to press charges on it. And I'm glad that you know, that got dropped, because that was a stupid little squabble. All that over a face mask. It was like the most dumbest shit I've seen in a long time in regards to a celebrity getting in trouble. It's like, okay, or just anybody getting in trouble. You know, I mean, I get it. You're supposed to wear your face mask. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be wearing his face mask. Like, ain't nothing special about him where he just. Ooh, that was loud. There's nothing special about him where I feel like he just doesn't have to wear his face mask or anything like that. But I don't feel like it's an extreme level where he should be in charge with like a felony neither. You know what I'm saying? So luckily Trey Songz do that. Just next time, yo, Trey, if you're trying to do that and they require face masks, have your face mask on deck. We know you can afford them, and you can make your own special face mask. I don't know, man, but just stay out of trouble. Speaking of trouble, Kodak Black. Now, anybody that watched my videos on Kodak Black knows that I literally just did a video about this dude, okay? Because he actually, earlier in this month, there was an alleged shooting involving him at a McDonald's in Florida where somebody, assailant came and started shooting at him and his people and everything else, but he made it out, of course, unscathed. But now, okay, mind you, he just got out of jail because Trump pardoned him, okay? And he got released for whatever charges that he was in jail for before. I think they were like drug related or gang related. Now, he literally just pled guilty for sexually assaulting a teenager. Okay, now this crime was allegedly committed in 2016, and of course the team went forward through the courts and tried to get him convicted and everything else. And I guess he was facing possible serious time. So instead of him going on trial he was facing serious time. Instead of him going on trial and going through the entire situation, the legal system with it, he decided to just come out and plead guilty. So he decided he was going to plead guilty for the crimes that was being bestowed upon him, which is allegedly sexual assault of a teenage girl. Now, there's a video that just dropped of him and his attorney pleading with the judge, saying that he does plead guilty, and he was just sentenced. Okay, it looks like he will be doing about 18 months probation, so he won't have any jail time. Now, this is interesting because you know, he literally just got pardoned by Trump. So I'm just like, yo, like, when is this, like, why would he still be getting into so much legal trouble? Like, he's just lucky. Like, Kodak Black has like the best luck in the world because he got locked up for all that stuff. He's supposed to be in there a long time. He got pardoned. Then he got shot at last week or a couple of weeks ago. And now he just got convicted and literally said that he pleaded guilty to sexually assaulting a female. And now, you know, he's off. And let me just read some of this, okay? From CBS affiliates. Okay, this is what they said. The rapper entered a guilty plea for assaulting a high school student. In the act, he was indicted for first-degree sexual assault charges back in 2017. Under the deal, Kodak pled guilty to lesser charges of first-degree assault and battery. As a result, rather than the suspended 10-year sentence that he was originally faced, he would now be on probation for 18 months. So he was facing up to 10 years in prison, but now he's going to be doing 18 months because he pled guilty. According to the 12th Circuit, Solicitor Ed Clements, the victim in the case was present during the court proceeding and agreed to the terms of the plea deal, which also included Kodak vocally taking responsibility for his action, agreeing to undergoing counseling, publicly apologizing to the victim, which he did in court. He was also joined by Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson in court. Earlier this year, Jackson called for the former President Donald Trump to comment Kodak Black 2019 sentence on weapons charges, okay? And Trump eventually gave him a pardon, okay, in his final days of office. So, and then also on an additional note, okay, Kodak Black security guard was shot earlier this month, like I told y'all before, in regards to an incident that happened in a Florida McDonald's, okay, parking lot, and the security was shot in the left leg, okay. But anyway, he went on social media and he put up an emoji, like a smiling emoji, because he basically just got off for this situation. But it's like, yo, God isn't going to continue to just give you this good luck. Like, Kodak Black be trying it, like, for real, for real. I don't really support his work, though, because it's just, I really never been a fan of his music. But I just feel like this dude literally got the best luck in the world. Like, he really do. Like, you go to jail for gun charges and everything else, and you're set free, and you're able to do whatever you want to do. Meanwhile, okay, we got Kanye West is getting sued by Walmart for stealing their logo, okay? Now, they're basically saying, okay, the owners of Walmart has stepped forward, basically saying that Kanye has attempted to steal and trademark a similar logo of Walmart. So he's basically saying that he's interfering with business at Walmart with this logo. Now, I looked at the logo. and comparing the two. And like I said, go to my website, djjericapod.com, and you can see the picture. And they look very similar. I'm going to put it in camera. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's Kanye. Like the dark one is Walmart, and then the lighter one is Kanye's. I don't know if you guys can see that, but they look eerily the same, okay? And they basically put out like a suit against him, possibly a pending lawsuit if he doesn't clean up his act, because they feel like he's basically doing infringement on their personal trademark rights, okay? Also, Ja Rule owes $3 million to the IRS, okay? Him and his wife allegedly, you know, they're in a lot of trouble. The IRS is suing them because they haven't paid taxes in quite some time. This story is from Radar. According to court documents obtained by Radar lawyers representing the United States of America, filed suit against Ja Rule, real name Jeffrey Atkins, and Aisha, I think this is his wife's name. They explained the case was brought after the IRS requested to take the rapper to court. The suit claims money is owed for the years of 2005 through the years 2010. Also from the years 2012 to 2017, the government has said in total they owe an amount of $3,100,000. That's the rough estimate amount. And then they gave a full breakdown of how much they owed every year in federal taxes from the year 2005 up to 2017. The IRS claims despite numerous demands for payment, Ja Rule refused to pay up on the bill. They are demanding the court enter a judgment against Ja Rule and his wife for $3.1 million. The rapper has yet to file a response to the case, and but he has hired his longtime attorney Stacey Richmond. They said allegedly Ja Rule has a long history of not filing his taxes and paying his taxes. Back in 2011, Ja Rule was sentenced 28 months in prison for failing to file income tax returns from the IRS. The rapper failed to file his income tax between 2004 to 2008, and he owed over $1.1 million in taxes. At the time, the rapper was serving a prison sentence due to a 2007 arrest in gun possession. Ja Rule and Lil Wayne were both arrested following a concert. Ja Rule reached a deal with the prosecutors in the gun case in 2010. He pled guilty to attempted criminal possession of a weapon. He was then sentenced to 2 years out. He was then sentenced to 2 years behind bars because of that. But anyway, so yeah, it's like he owes the IRS money, like $3.1 million. That's a hefty amount of money. I don't understand why he doesn't file his taxes. Like I mean, so someone his wealth and caliber, you would think that he would have like a financial advisor or an attorney that could file taxes if he hate handling his finances that bad. But there's no reason why he can't just simply file his taxes. The one thing if you just owe, but if you're just not even going through the steps of filing, something ain't right. Okay, that ain't right. Okay, and you know the IRS don't play. They like locking people up. He done been locked up before, so hopefully he ain't gonna get locked up again. So Ja Rule, I suggest you pay up, pay them, set up that payment plan. Go ahead and set up that good old payment plan with the IRS, baby, so you don't be getting thrown into jail for not paying them back. Speaking of paying up, Dr. Dre gotta pay up again. Okay, they saying Dr. Dre had to pay the lawyers of his ex-wife Nicole Young $500,000. $500,000, y'all. They basically saying this for court document. I mean for legal fees in regards to attorneys and everything else to finalize their divorce, and all that good stuff that's been going on right there. Honestly, with Dr. Dre's money, that's chump change. And I mean, if he was really abusing her allegedly, like they're saying, I think the least he could do is possibly pay her. Now, speaking of paying up, you know, it's so interesting that we're talking about Dr. Dre, and this story is like kind of Dr. Dre related. DJ Quick basically like went on social media blasting Death Row for sending him a check of like $100, and he burned the check up. Okay, he burnt the check up, basically saying that he wants everything that belongs to him. He wants his credits for the works that he's done. He was very upset about not getting his royalties, and he burned the entire check up, and basically said, this is what I think of this Death Row check. And he burnt it up, man, and he's upset. You know, he did a lot of different works, And basically, he's basically saying he feels unappreciative. It's a lot of projects that he did for Death Row, for Tupac, and so many other well-known artists in the industry over the past 20-something years. And meanwhile, he's over here getting these tiny checks, and he basically saying that he want all of his credit from the work that he did, you know what I mean? So he worked with a lot of people, and you know, that goes to show you that if you're doing production work, is to make sure that you got all the paperwork done first, to make sure that you're getting all your credit and your money that you deserve in entirety, and before you decide to sell a song to somebody and stuff like that, just making sure that legally that stuff is in order, you know, because he's older now. He got to be almost like close to 50, and he's now going on social media blasting Death Row Records for giving him a tiny royalty check, you know, that's like not worth shit. But that's the importance. If you're doing music industry work, you want to make sure that, you know, you stay on top of those checks, you stay on top of the money that's coming in, and you're counting your money, you know what I mean? Because, you know, no one else is going to do it for you. No one else is going to make sure that you are being properly compensated. People don't do that nowadays. People are shady, people are funny, you know, and if people could get over on you, they will. Okay. But outside of that, you guys, I think outside of that, y'all, that is pretty much all I have to say about that situation. And this is gonna wrap up my podcast for today. I want to thank you guys for coming on the show and listening to me talk and gossip and do all the stuff that I love to do. If you guys like my podcast, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button right now, like I said, and make sure you guys, if you guys are on Spotify or Apple, wherever, share, leave a comment, leave a rating, make sure you follow. I appreciate everybody for coming on and listening to my show today. It took a lot of time to produce this show, so I appreciate you coming and hearing me talk today. I'm so excited. I'm excited about the month of May. We are already in another month of May. These days and months are passing by, so make sure that you try to show love to people while they're here. Try to show love to the people that you have around you right now, and you know, because you never know what the future holds, you guys. But I want to thank y'all for still rocking with me, you know, and being patient with me on my podcast. You know, this is a podcast, so I'm not going to be posting podcasts every day. But when I come on and I talk, you know, we have a good ass conversation. So I appreciate y'all for listening to my show, and I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Much love. Peace. DJ Eric J.